Long ago, in the heart of the vast African savanna, nestled between mighty rivers and towering baobab trees, there was a village called Njura. It was a land of plenty, blessed with rich soil and game-filled forest. The people of Njura lived in harmony, bound together by tradition and an unbreakable sense of community. But among them were two young men, Jomo and Koroni, whose fates would be forever entwined in tragedy. Jomo and Koroni had been friends since childhood. They had hunted together, danced together during moonlit festivals, and shared their dreams beneath the ancient Iroko tree that stood at the edge of their village. They were inseparable, bound by a bond that no one thought could ever break. Yet, fate had other plans. Jomo was in love with a beautiful maiden named Akini. Her laughter was like the gentle wind that rustled the leaves, and her beauty was a gift from the gods. She had chosen Jomo to be her husband, and the entire village rejoiced at their union. Koroni, however, harbored a secret. He, too, had fallen for Akini. He masked his love in forced smiles and hollow laughter, but jealousy festered in his heart like a wound that refused to heal. One fateful evening, as the village prepared for a grand festival to honor their ancestors, Koroni saw an opportunity. He found Akini alone by the river, fetching water in a clay pot. The sun had dipped below the horizon, casting the land in shades of gold and crimson. He approached her with feigned innocence, his voice smooth like the flowing river. "Akini, have you ever wondered what it would be like if our hearts had been bound instead?" Koroni whispered, stepping closer. Akini's eyes widened in shock. "Koroni, you speak of things that should not be spoken. I have given my heart to Jomo. He is your friend." "Friendship and love are not always bound by the same rules," Koroni said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I can give you more than he ever could. Choose me." Akini recoiled, her hands trembling. "You dishonor your friend with these words." "I will pretend I never heard them." But Koroni did not stop. He reached for her, and she screamed. By some cruel twist of fate, Jomo was nearby. He had been on his way to surprise Akini with a necklace woven from the finest cowrie shells. When he heard her cry, his heart pounded like a war drum. He rushed toward the river and found Koroni grasping Akini's arm. "What is this?" Jomo bellowed, his voice thick with rage. Koroni released Akini and stepped back, guilt flashing across his face. "Jomo, Jomo did not wait for an explanation. The betrayal sliced through him like a sharpened blade. The friend he had trusted more than a brother had tried to take what was most precious to him. His vision turned red with fury. A fight erupted between the two men. Fists flew, bodies slammed against the earth, and the air was thick with the sounds of struggle. Koroni, desperate and reckless, reached for a sharp stone and swung at Jomo. The jagged edge grazed Jomo's arm, drawing blood. Blinded by rage and pain, Jomo retaliated. He grabbed Koroni by the throat and, with strength fueled by heartbreak, he drove his knife into his friend's chest. Koroni gasped, his body convulsing as blood seeped from the wound. His eyes, once filled with jealousy, were now filled with something else, regret. "Jomo, I am sorry." Koroni rasped before he collapsed. The village had heard the commotion and came running. When they saw Koroni lying lifeless and Jomo standing over him, blood-stained and trembling, silence fell over the gathering. Jomo dropped to his knees, the weight of his actions crushing him. He had slain his closest friend, the boy with whom he had once shared laughter and dreams. The elders, their faces grave, knew that blood had been spilled on sacred ground. The village held council that night, and the chief, an old man with wisdom as deep as the rivers, spoke with sorrow. "Jomo, you have taken a life, and though your heart was filled with rage, the spirits do not forgive easily. You must leave this village and never return." Banished and heartbroken, Jomo wandered through the wild, his soul burdened by guilt. He spoke to the wind, seeking forgiveness from the ancestors, but no answer came. He lived in solitude, his only company the howling of the jackals and the whispers of the trees. Years passed, and legend said that Jomo never found peace. It was said that on nights when the moon was full, villagers could hear the sorrowful cries of a man echoing through the hills. Some believed it was Jomo's spirit, forever mourning his lost friend and the love that led to tragedy. One day, weakened by years of wandering, Jomo collapsed near a distant village. He was discovered by an old woman named Wanjiru, a healer known for her wisdom. She took him in, tending to his wounds, both physical and spiritual. Seeing his sorrow, she whispered, "Your past is a shadow, Jomo, but even the longest night must end with the dawn." Under her guidance, Jomo learned the art of healing. He gathered herbs, listened to the whispers of the wind, and spoke with spirits through sacred rituals. Slowly, he transformed from a man haunted by ghosts into a figure of hope. He traveled from village to village, mending wounds, curing the sick, and guiding lost souls. But peace still eluded him. One night, he stood before a dying man, whose fevered whispers echoed Koroni's last words. The past surged back like a flood, and Jomo realized he could heal others, but not himself. Seeking true redemption, Jomo embarked on one final journey to return to Njuro. He approached the village with trepidation, expecting hatred, but instead found silence. The people had not forgotten, but time had softened their anger. The elders, now frail, listened as he spoke, "I do not ask for forgiveness, only to serve." They allowed him to stay, not as a son of the village, but as its healer. And so, Jomo spent his remaining days tending to those in need, offering his wisdom to the young, and seeking atonement in every life he saved. When he finally passed, the villagers carried him to the sacred falls, where the waters washed away his name but not his legacy. Some say his spirit found Koronis at last, and in the realm of the ancestors, they were brothers once more. And so, the tale of Jomo and Koroni became more than a warning, it became a lesson in the weight of guilt, the power of redemption, and the truth that even the most shattered souls could find a path back to the light.